This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Sedita.
Hello out there. Welcome to episode 63 of the Good Neighbor Podcast. My name is Mike Sedita, and we have the pleasure today of being joined by PAOLA Rodriguez. She is an insurance and wealth building expert with Rodriguez Wealth. How are you doing, PAOLA? Sorry.
I'm great. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing great. See, I already got you to make a funny face. So normally it's me that makes all the funny faces, but we're off to a good start. In case you aren't aware, leading up to this, the Good Neighbor Podcast was started in 2020 just as a way to get business owners like you into the community, let people know what you do a little bit, get to know you personally. And over the last 3 years, we've expanded all over the United States. I'm fortunate enough to be the person here in Tampa that gets to learn about different businesses and find out really like what they do and how they got into what they do. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about Rodriguez Wealth.
Yeah, so it is an insurance brokerage, and we help people with starting their journey to become financially free. And so I've been in insurance for about 4.5 years. And I've built a great book of business. I have over 300 and so clients. But now my big passion is helping people lead a life of their dreams, really become financially independent. I've seen my dad, my mom, they just got back from a trip to Alaska. They're just living the dream. They never made a lot of money, but they just made the right decisions. And so I want to help other people do that same thing, keep families together, not have all these financial, turmoils that go on, just educate people so that they can create a better life for themselves.
So are you purely independent? So like if I come to you from an insurance standpoint, I basically tell you, hey, PAOLA, this is what I'm looking for. And you ask me a series of questions about my age and my health and my other stuff. And then you can go and shop whatever policy works best.
Yeah, so I'm a broker. So I have contracts with companies like Ambetter, with United. Really, those are my biggest books of business. Allstate, all these different companies. But I love helping people protect themselves first and then start their journey to become financially free. So insurance is really the foundation and protection, right? Because we're not doing anything, putting money away if we don't have money to pay for. God forbid you break an arm or you break a leg. You're using those funds that you've taken so much time to build up to pay for these incidentals. So that's why insurance is the foundation. And then we move on to actual planning and helping people make the right financial decisions.
And then from the insurance side, is it strictly life or is it life and health as well? So if I wanted to come to you for health insurance, could you guide me to get a health insurance plan that fits me and my family's needs?
I can, yes. And a lot of people come to me for health insurance. What ends up happening is I ask them, hey, we haven't talked about life insurance just yet. And so it's something that is very important. I enjoy more the conversations of life insurance because it's a more, what are your future goals? How's your family doing? Versus like, hey, we kind of need to get health insurance, right? It's like a must rather than a more, kind of outward looking conversation. So I can help with both.
So it's all encompassing the client's needs as they come in. You're kind of having that exploratory conversation to learn more about them, get to know them, and see what they might need, what road they might need to go down.
Exactly.
So for you personally, when you were a little girl playing on the playground and swings and whatever you were doing, were you like, man, I need to sell insurance? Was that like the thing you're like, I just can't get enough of insurance? Or were you like, you know what, I'm going to be a pro skateboarder or something else? And then you kind of fell into doing this.
Yeah. When I was a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. So my favorite person on earth was a teacher, my grandma. And she actually, I can show you a quick pic of her right there. That's
very nice.
Yeah. So nice. She was a teacher, but teachers don't get paid very well, as we all know. And they also have to deal with a lot of bureaucracy about the school system and all that. And I now I'm an educator, but I'm more leaning towards finances, right? So I help educate people on, becoming financially free.
So let me ask you this. When do you realize, I don't know if you could hear in the background here. It is like, do you hear the thunder in the background here or no?
I hear some kind of shuffling.
I'm like literally sitting like thunder and lightning cracking right on the studio here. So if it's coming through the microphone, and the house blows away, I'll be in Kansas or wherever the tornado takes me. So when do you realize, do you like your grandmother is a teacher, and are you like going to college to be a teacher and realize, oh my God, they're the least paid? Or did you realize it ahead of time and said, I got to pivot?
Yeah, I realized it pretty early on. So when I was getting ready to go to college, I wanted to be an attorney, just because I'm good with words, and I'm Latina, and people are like, oh yeah, you can hold it down.
You like to fight, is what you're saying. You like to argue, is what you're saying. All right, I got you. I can read between the lines. I
don't like to fight. I love discussions because I love. I'm very much like a nerd, so I like know a lot of facts, and my memory is really good, and so I can kind of like really. I'm a small person, but I can really, get at somebody with my words. And so unfortunately, during the time that I was entering college, it was the 08 crisis, and so. My dad is in real estate, and and then I was like, okay, am I gonna pay for my own college and then maybe not have a job after I came out? And so my dad gave me an article from Yahoo Answers, and he told me that on the article, it was the best value degrees was the first one was business, then it was engineering, and then I didn't keep reading.
Right.
So I declared business as my major in college.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the reason I asked that question, the funny story behind that question is I have a friend who said, I want to be an early childhood educator. And I said, oh, that's great. Like for me, that scares me. Like I would rather be in a lab with explosives than in a room full of small children like that. If I'm choosing those two. And she went to school, got her degree, and then went out and started teaching and realized that she wasn't really prepared to deal with small children. And I kept saying to myself, like, you didn't think about it. Like you didn't put it together that there'd be like 20 screaming 5-year-olds in a room. And like, so it's good because you didn't invest that time. You were able to kind of know, and your dad sounds like a businessman, a smart businessman, and kind of gave you a little bit of that guidance. Tell me one of the things when you talk to people, when you get someone that comes in to meet with you, what's one of the myths or misconceptions that they think when they're coming to talk to you? Do they think that, insurance is too expensive? Do they think they need $1 million to invest? Like, what's some of the things that you really need to educate people and say, no, it's really what I do?
Yeah. So there's been a lot of people that have come to me that think that they need a really large death benefit. And so, we can accommodate anyone, all across the board. There hasn't been a person that has come to me with a need that I haven't been able to help them with. However, people have this misconception of like, oh, I get $2 million worth of insurance and it's going to be like $20. And it's really not like that. It really depends on the person's health. It depends on their age. It depends on what kind of insurance we're getting.
Term life or whole life is a huge difference, right? People don't get that. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people too that are learning about the concept of infinite banking. So they think that they can borrow against the death benefit of the policy. That's not true. You can only borrow against the cash value of the life insurance policy. And that's
and you have to build the cash value before you can.
You have to build the cash. Exactly. You can't just like, you have to put in money in order to take it out.
So the two biggest things there is number one, the whole, $1 million worth of life insurance for $20, that's part of a problem with advertising. There's the fine print that's not going on there. What people don't understand is you have to be incredibly healthy to get that. You have to be a certain age, and it's term life insurance. And if you're listening to this and you don't know what term life insurance is, explain to us the difference between term and whole life insurance. It's pretty basic, but I'll let you kind of go into it.
Yeah, super basic. So term insurances you have for a certain amount of time. That's term. And it is cheaper. It does not have a cash value. It's usually to protect you. Like if you have a mortgage and you want it to be paid off in the next 30 years, something happens to you, you have term insurance. Now, whole life or permanent insurance, is something that you're building a cash value, and you have it until you want to not have it, right? You can have it as long as you want, and it does build a cash value. So that's permanent insurance.
The analogy I always used is term life insurance is kind of like leasing a car. You're going to pay for it for the X amount of time, and when you're done, it just goes away. They take it like a car they take back. Your insurance, when you hit that 20-year or whatever the 30-year number is, it's gone. You just paid into it X number of months, and it's over. Whole life insurance is more like buying a car. You actually are paying into it, and there is a value. Just with the car, it depreciates. With the insurance, it appreciates. But But people get that confused. And the other thing, this whole infinite banking thing, I love Instagram. There's a lot of cool stuff you can see on Instagram. Instagram is ruining people's minds. Like there is no such investment. You get these guys that have a whiteboard on Instagram, and they start making up a BS story about if you do this, it turns into this, and your money's available this. All of that is not true. You can't just open a life insurance with a $2 million death benefit and then tomorrow take out $1 million loan and start doing stuff. It does not work that way. So, so I would think that's got to be frustrating for you as a professional, as a wealth builder, as an insurance builder and financier person, when people come to you with that ridiculous stuff, and then you're like popping their bubble, like you're throwing a cold glass of water on them. Yeah. And I mean, is that happen frequently because of that stuff that's going on?
So it happens not as frequently as you would think, because my clients are very sophisticated. They know if something sounds too good to be true, they kind of know. But there are circumstances where someone will reach out to me on social media, we'll hop on the phone, and I'll burst their bubble like you were saying. And they really are like, oh man. But what's really cool is everything's how you perceive it. So I'm out here, I'm a professional. People see me as an expert. And so I'm here to educate people. And so they see all this stuff on social media, right? But then they're still coming to me for actual, like, hey, Paola, what's the real deal, right?
Well, and then the other thing too with that is there's a limit to the amount of cash that you could put into that, right? Like is it what, $15,000 a year? I don't know the exact number, but it's limited.
It depends on how you build the policy. So it depends on the death benefit. You have to build the death benefit well enough in order for you to put a certain amount of money into it.
So, it's not like you can just go and buy an insurance policy with $1 million and you just dump it in there. I mean, if you're doing that in cash, there's other things that you can do. I mean, it's just Instagram just really kills it.
Yeah, there are certain tax advantages to putting money into a life insurance policy. And so if you are dumping too much money into a life insurance policy, what it does is it makes it a MEC, which is a modified endowment contract, and therefore it is taxed. So it takes away the advantages of being, the tax free growth in the policy that goes away, and there's tax implications. So it's not good, right? You have to structure it correctly. You have to do the right things with the policy.
It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep is the most important thing. So all right, you've already with that last comment, you've already established that you're a nerd. I mean, you said it to begin, you've just established that. So when you're not, diving into insurance regulations and codes and financing and all this other stuff, what do you like to do for fun when you get out?
Oh man. I'm a pole dance instructor. So I help women learn how to bring out their sexy and get a workout.
Why does it got to be just women? Why can't guys do it? Why is it sexy?
Boys are not allowed. Boys are not allowed.
No? Oh, nope. Wow. It's an exclusive club. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Magic Mike. There's guys that do dancing, but not pole dancing.
Yeah. So they, guys can do it, right? it's more of like empowering women and for them to feel
I'm very
good,
familiar.
I honestly wouldn't want to see a guy around the pole.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm just giving you a hard time from it, but the I had a friend that does it, that used to do it for exercise, because the core body strength that you need to have to spin around on that pole is definitely, there's a strength to it, a tremendous amount of strength to it. And it's an empowering thing. It's like taking charge of that's, you're conquering that particular task, and it makes women feel incredibly sexy and very empowered. So how often do you, where do you do that? How often do you do that?
So the studio where I teach at is called Impulse. It's here in Brandon. And there's a location also in St. Petersburg. And I do that every Monday at 6:30. And
so you got that tonight. You're going to drive through the rain to get there tonight.
Yeah.
The one that I was at was in the back of a gym. I was with a friend of mine, and she went to do the class in the back of the gym somewhere. I want to say right in Tampa. I don't remember the specifics.
I think it's Buttercup. Yeah. It was a Powerhouse Gym.
Yeah. Powerhouse Gym.
Yeah. They're called Buttercup. Yeah. They're great.
I wasn't in the class because I wasn't allowed, but I worked out while she was taking that class, and it's a pretty cool thing. So your class tonight, how many women do you have in there usually?
So I have 5 right now. Okay. It's a month-long class where we take the same women and we take them through a curriculum. So it's really cool because a lot of times it's like their first time touching a pole, and I have to tell them hey, it spins on itself, or we can make it static, because a lot of people don't know that the pole actually spins.
Right.
And so we teach the fundamentals, the basics, and it's really cool. It's really awesome.
And then there's that whole outfits thing to it. There was a series of shoes that had a special section in the closet just for dance class. I mean, they're ridiculous. I mean, they're ridiculous. Just walking in those, I would get a workout just walking in those shoes, but
they're so comfortable, Mike. They're
really?
Yeah. The common misconception is that it's really hard to walk in them.
The bottoms are like this, and
there's at least 6-inch, 7-inch, 8-inch, even sometimes. But they wrap around your ankle really good, and so
support.
Secret. I've actually gone to a gala in one of those shoes. And they're really comfy, a lot more comfortable.
5'2", but at the gala you look like you're 5'7".
Exactly. I'm 5'4". I look like
you're like an Amazon in those shoes. Yes. You're so tall. So all right. So that is fun. I mean, but that's also kind of like an extra job that you do. Do you have any? I mean, do you like to read? Do you like to go out on a boat? Do you like to? It's what's funny is I was gonna actually make some sort of stupid comment about you sideline doing something silly, but I didn't, and then you said that. So I mean, is there other stuff that you enjoy? Do you like to go out to dinner? Do you like to go to movies? What is any other passions?
I love the beach, and there's this drum circle in Treasure Island that I love to go to on Sundays whenever I can make it out, and so the beach is my serenity, my peace.
Honeymoon Island is my favorite out of all the beaches up and down, Clearwater. Just because, I just had that one experience on that, that one nice, sunset type of thing. I always go back mentally to Honeymoon Island, but the traffic it's just getting there. It's just getting there is just crazy, but I do like it. It's just, I'm more of I'd rather sit by the pool. So if I need a drink, I could just go grab a drink. If I have to use the restroom, I could go use the restroom. I could listen to music and not have to get sand into parts of my body that shouldn't really have sand in those parts of my body. So let me ask you this. One of the questions I always like to ask business owners, because I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of pitfalls to being an entrepreneur. Everybody, when they work a corporate job, says, I want to be an entrepreneur someday. And then they realize when they're an entrepreneur, holy crap, I don't sleep at night because I'm thinking about all the things I have to do. And then when I'm working, I'm doing 7 different things. Has there been a time in your career where you've kind of hit a wall and you're I don't know how I'm going to get around this or get through it, and then you figure out a way to exceed and excel and get past it?
Yeah, I would say, everything's cyclical, right? So there's going to be times where it gets hard and times where it's easy. But one time where I hit a wall was about two 2.5 years ago, I was working under a company, and unfortunately, they didn't promote me to become a leader. They promoted 3 other people. And so I felt like, I took it very personally, and I left that company and became my own broker. So I was a captive agent. Then I, got into my own thing, and it was hard at first, but I really am so glad that I did it as early as I did. Right. Because going independent, there's a lot of different benefits to it, where you really truly are working for your clients and are, the intermediary between them and the insurance company. So you're really fighting for them, and you don't actually care what insurance company they go with, as long as they use you. Right.
Right.
So that was a wall that I hit, and having to learn how to be a broker and learning all these different companies and having all these different portals to go into and all the different, fine print of all the different companies. But it's good. I was in reading competitions when I was little. So it kind of really prepared me to be that, representative for my clients. So I would say that was one of the hardest things of, actually becoming a business owner. That was the hardest part.
Well, that stuff you kind of pick up as you go, right? Like you're going to run into stuff. I mean, I've owned businesses. I've owned 2 multi-million-dollar ad agencies. And every time, like, there's no blueprint. Like, something comes up and you're like, all right, how do I handle this? You go to the people that you trust, you get a little bit of input, and ultimately you make the decision to do what you do. But, there is no blueprint for, if this happens, this is what you do. Or, you just kind of have to figure that stuff out. And once you go through it once, the nice thing is you generally know how to do that thing from then on out. The thing I always got a kick out of with like independence like you is I'm sure somewhere you have like a spreadsheet with every password to every portal of every insurance company. Cause you're kind of going through all that stuff, trying to figure out who gets what the best. And the nice thing from a brokerage standpoint is you're not tied to that one particular insurance or that one particular investment vehicle. I worked for a large insurance company in a past life, in a corporate life. I worked for an insurance company, and our in-house agents were basically like, you have to sell our product. And if it's not competitive, you either have to shoehorn somebody into that product or figure out a way to make it work, or you end up losing that business. So having that flexibility is probably a big thing. I mean, it helps you with your business.
It's really great. Yeah. And now I'm really more in a volume game. So it's not about making these large commissions off of like one client. It's about helping as many people as possible, because unfortunately, as brokers, we don't make as much money off of clients. So it's more of like, how many people can I help? And I like that better, right? Having more people to help is a lot better than just, kind of finding the people that are right for your product.
And now, is it just you? Are you a one-woman shop, or do you have some assistants?
Yeah, so I have 2 people that are on staff with me that get paid an hourly rate. And then I have 1 producing agent. There's a few others that kind of are here and there, but I have an agent that helps me out.
That's awesome. So, so I guess the kind of the big question as we start to wrap this up is, if there's one thing people need to take away from this, if they're looking for an insurance and an investment advisor, wealth management person, someone to help them with their insurance and their wealth needs, what should they know different about you? Like, what's the differentiator? Why do I come to you?
So I take a holistic approach when it comes to people's finances. It's not just about like how much money they're making or how much money they're putting aside. It's really what's going to be the best for their situation. So I ask a lot of questions. I get to know really what their goals are, where they see themselves, versus pigeonholing them into, oh, well, you need to buy life insurance. And so that's the main difference between working with me. I really am in it to win it for the clients. I don't really, I'm not tied to different products. I just want to make sure that they get the best possible, so that they can feel so great that they're referring their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother to work with me.
Well, that reading between the lines a little bit and what you're saying is that it's a relationship game, right? Like, the financial products are the financial products. The interest rate is only going to be like, you might find a couple of little bits here and there, and you can pick up some stuff here and there, and finding the right thing for your client and building that relationship with them and giving them that level of comfortability is a huge differentiator. I mean, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And, you know, having that relationship is super important. That discovery meeting that you're talking about, does that generally happen at the office, over the phone? How do you generally like to do that, and how long does it take?
Yeah, usually it's 30 minutes. Sometimes they'll run a little bit longer if people have questions or they want to just jump into the content of different things. I usually do it over the phone. A lot of the times I'm traveling up and about and doing different things. Sometimes I'll do a Zoom if they feel a little bit more comfortable just seeing me. But mostly all of it is over the phone.
And then, so I guess obviously the question is going to be the phone, but throw out the number, let people know, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way? Phone number, email, website, whatever you got.
Yeah, so you can find a lot of information, different testimonials and everything on ourwealthgroup.com. So that's R as in Rodriguez, wealthgroup.com. You can obviously reach out to me, Paola, at ourwealthgroup.com. My name is spelled PAOLA at ourwealthgroup.com. Those are the two best ways to reach me. Obviously, you can give us a call at the office. I don't know the number, but it is on the website. And then JV will go ahead and book a time for you to speak to me if it makes sense. So yeah, those are the two best ways. Oh, and you can find me on Instagram and maybe see some of my poll stuff as well. And I'm
if you want to give out that address, you're more than welcome to do that. My investment advisor / instructor, feel free to throw out your IG tag.
Yeah, so it's at the Powerful Paola. So at the Powerful Paola is my IG handle.
Excellent. Paola, thank you so much for being on the Good Neighbor podcast. It was very entertaining. Not just it's educational and entertaining, both combined here. We appreciate you coming out with us. You have an amazing afternoon.
Thank you too, Mike.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Passcode. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppasco.com. That's gnppasco.com, or call 813-922-3610.